Hello guys, today we are going always to talk about the fork bomb. As you remember the function, so I have a video that described for 10 minutes or more the fork bomb how it work. But today we are going to obfuscate this fork bomb with various type in Linux of coding and decoding function. For example, if you see this, usually when we have a string that terminate and end with a equals or double a equals is a base64. But you have to understand that behind this string of base64, we have a code, malicious Unix code. For example, what happens if I do a echo dash e? Okay, I will have the print. But what happens if I do a base64 dash d? That d means decrypt. Okay, I know that behind my base64 I have this command. This command it's used. It's never used, but there are people that use this command for delete all the file inside the system because we are going to remove recursively force the root folder and all the files that are in the root, and we are going to no preserve root. So the what does it mean? That the root folder is not treated. Uh, so do not treat specially. So we're going to delete all the file. Usually as well, we can have a command behind this. I will not use it, but it's an eval. I will show you what is eval. For example, I'm going to write an ls. Okay, I'm going to decrypt this this ls. This is our base64 of ls. Or if you want, I can do a more complicated ls, is like lart. Okay, you see, this is my output. Okay, now what happens if I do again an echo to my output base 64 decrypt? Okay, I will have a lslart. But how can I execute this command directly? I have a function in Unix, it's called eval, and I can run this command, pack, and our ls is executed. Eval take what it does. It take the output of one command and it executes it in the shell. So imagine that here, okay, we have a very malicious script, or like as we saw, a no preserve root and remove all. We can execute with eval, and nobody can understand what is, because it's a base64. I mean, now base64 is very modern. All the people that use Unix, Linux in general, know how it works because for example, if we have a very long string, for example, I will try to, I don't know, for example, okay, I have this string. If I do an echo, okay, I can do a base 64. Uh, okay, you see that the string is quite long, and I would say that usually, as I said before, we can recognize a base64 string because in the end we have an equals. And a lot of people, as I said again, know if it's a base64 or not. But there is another method, is a very old one. It's called UUencode, and same for decode. It's like a base64. It's not modern. It's an old one. All these used in Unix system. It was used for move data from one server to another, so exchange data. And about the why we can say that is like equals to the base64 because we have an overhead. The overhead is as we saw before. Okay, for example, this is a string, and you see that the result it increase. We see that it increase the number of character. So usually when we use the Base64, we have an overhead of 33, 34, 37%. Same for UUdecode and UUencode. We have a overhead similar, but in Base64, when we do a Base64 of a file or what we need to do, we don't have the file permission, we don't have the file name. In the other way, the other end, in using UUencode, UUdecode, yes, we have the file name, we have the permission, but we'll see now, I will do the same stuff of before. I will create a file with ls inside. I will call the file ls YouTube. Okay. What happens if I do an L? Okay, if I do a cat, I see my result. I can do as well an eval. I will execute the command. Okay, we'll see that it executes the ls command and we see our folder. I can do as well a art here. We'll see the result. Okay, now we have to encode this file. How to work UUencode. Okay, version help, more help, base64, convert using base64. But if you would like to use the UUencode, the old version, we have to specify the file and the output name. So for example, I can do UUencode. The file is lsyoutube and our file, like, yes, the output for us will be sl youtube, so it's the opposite. Okay, you will see this is the result. Usually when we have to do this stuff, we can simply put an error, so we are going to redirect the output into a file. For example, our file could be test youtube or test uu. Okay, if I do a cat test uu, I will see the result. This command actually it means ls. So all this command it means create a file. So begin create a file with 644 permission. 644 permission in Linux are 6 is only read and write, read and read. Because if we had there a 7 is all the permission, or like 5 is only read and execute, but 644 is only read write. So read write for the user, read for the group, read for all the other user. It's the same permission of LSU2. So what happened now? What can happen? We can do two stuff. One is have this input, okay, and do an eval. So encode this and do an eval. What happened? So if I do an echo dash e, because we have to interpret this, because we have as we see we have some space, so I can do begin n for space, so for go I put this again, and the last one dash n, yes, because what we miss here n, so ls youtube n space it n space and okay, we have to avoid this. So okay, we see that the output is the same. So what I can do is I can do UU decode, and we'll see. Oh, we don't have zero result, but we'll have a file, or I can do as well, for example, YouTube. I will have a file called YouTube cat with ls. Or the last stuff that we can do is this. For example, what can happen? As we saw, if we do eval, will not work because we don't have any output in the screen. But we'll have a file, it's called YouTube. I can do a cat, I see that is ls. I can do eval again, and I will see the ls is executed. But We don't like this. What we can do is this one. We can simply do, we'll delete our file, and our output, in this case, will be dev stdout. Stdout is all the output for us that will appear into the shell. Because what happens if I delete this? I will delete this as well, and I see that my output is inside the dev stdout. So I will create a file called dev stdout, but it already exists. And what I will put inside, I will put this, that is decoded, and the result is ls. So I can do this, I can do eval again. So eval, okay, and I will see that my command is executed. So that's all, guys. As we saw, there we can put the fork bomb in a encoded way, but we will not do it right now because we did the last time the fork bomb, we saw it work. Now is only to obfuscate, is only to play with the obfuscation in Linux and Unix. So that's all, guys. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.